Well, it seems like every year you have to go to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles to, well, renew your license plate or maybe get a new driver's license or, well, when you transfer a vehicle, you buy a vehicle. There you're going over to BMV. Got to get everything taken care of to keep it on the straight and narrow so, well, you don't get yourself in trouble. But did you know the state of Indiana sells data? The data that they collect from you. And last year, the state of Indiana earned $26 million selling your data. Now, some people say, wait a minute, they're selling my data? What about the age of identity theft and people finding out things, well, you don't really want necessarily folks to know? Well, as it turns out, the federal government passed a law. And it was a few years back, I believe the year was 1994. It was a special act called the Driver's Privacy Protection Act. They call it DPPA. It was 1994 they passed it after a crazed fan got the BMV information of some actress by the name of Rebecca Schaefer. Well, he got the information on where she lived and what have you, went to her home and murdered her. Well, as a result, they passed this federal law. So the law says that your driver's license vehicle information can be used for certain situations. And they outline what those situations are. They call it permissible use. Well, permissible use includes things like towed vehicles used by private investigators, court proceedings, motor vehicle safety recalls. That's a big one. You buy a car, there's a recall. Well, you got to know who owns the car. That's one of the ways they get the information. Or let's say you're driving through a state that has toll operations and you run the toll light. Well, they got to find out who owns that car, where you are, where you live. And so they call up the states for the data, and that's how they get your information to send you, well, their information, you're getting a ticket. Well, and even insurance activities. Now, so is it a good plan? Is it a bad plan? Well, as it turns out, the state of Indiana has got rules and regulations. And the rules say if someone wants to get data, the state of Indiana charges folks. Now, there's a company out there called LexisNexis. You may have heard of them. They gather data from all kinds of stuff, but they were gathering data on people, and some folks sued them. And as it turns out, LexisNexis decided to end the lawsuit by paying $5 million, which was like money they found in their couch, because they just didn't want to go with the hassling of the law anymore. They said, we don't like the law, but we're going to settle it just because it's a nuisance. And they did. But there are companies that collect. However, what you don't know is there are some states out there that allow you to opt out. That means you file an affidavit, paperwork, if you will, that says, I don't want my name, my social security number. I don't want that data out and sold to somebody. There's 3 states that have that law. Those 3 states are Delaware, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. Turns out that a state representative here in Indianapolis, his name is Greg Porter, he's filed a bill that would allow Indiana drivers also to opt out of the data being provided to companies, provided they sign the declaration that says, hey, I don't want my data sold. Will it happen? Well, anybody's guess in Indiana what's going to go on. But who on earth can sell all the data, or who can get the data? Well, take a look at this. These are the people that can get data on you, your address, your name, all the information about you. Attorneys. Now, lawsuits, things going on. Legally, they have access to it because they're licensed. Got to have a license in some way, shape, or form to get this data. Auto dealers. Bail bond companies. Hopefully you never have to deal with one of those. Debt collection companies. Yes, they can get the information from the BMV to find out where you live. How about insurance agents, insurance companies, mobile home parks? I haven't figured that one out yet. Private investigators, private eye. Yeah, they got to be licensed, but they can get data on you. Recovery agents, school corporations to look in your background. The security guards, even sheriffs and police departments. Well, obviously that's pretty common. You think about that. And even tow companies. But will the chance for you to be able to opt out of your data being sold? Well, it may happen. And it may not. It all depends what the legislature and the Senate does down in Indianapolis. But Greg Porter is doing his best to file that bill. Like I said, 3 states allow you to opt out. The rest of us, 47 states, data gets reported. But if you wonder why some of the data comes out with your name on it, you're going, where did they get that data? Turns out federal law says they can do it, and the state law says, well, they can do it, we're going to charge you. And that's how Indiana earns $26 million a year selling your data. And now you know.